Hey Geeks, Barry here, and today we continue the 30-day world building challenge. Words. So today is day 7. As always, be sure to keep in track. Should be a card pop up right about here if you want to check out any of the previous day episodes on any of the topics that we've covered. And today is day 7. We'll be talking about history, not geological or geographic history. We'll actually be talking about, I guess, social political history and adventurers. And so we'll start with adventurers with the question of is how prevalent are adventurers, or how well known, how many there are. And naturally, I figure in this world, there's going to be a lot, mainly because they are the hunters. They are the ones that help protect settlements, help protect civilizations, so to say, from these large creatures that are out in the wilderness and wild. And again, I'm thinking in terms of these monsters, for lack of a better term, are all over the world. So again, thinking and pulling visuals from Monster Hunter World, I mean, you literally have dinosaurs running around, all over the place, almost all the time. So you kind of need people to keep that in check. So these adventurers are going to be these hunters and huntresses. Yeah. I think what's a bit different is that each country, nation, or something would have their own kind of hunting guild / academy that would operate and train these hunters to deal with the species within in and around and in their own ecologies. So, example, you would have hunters train how you would hunt and train to fight desert creatures is very different than what you would have for, large plain prairie creatures or deciduous forests and things like that. So that is adventurers and kind of how they are seen and how they operate in a real kind of quick snapshot. I can see that a lot more could be developed, and I probably will develop a lot more as we start polishing all of this. So, because I think that'll be a lot of fun, is coming up with these hunting guilds and things like that. The other challenge for today is to come up with a history, to kind of help keep it within a certain frame. Is the exercise just calls for the last 100 years of history. You don't need a name for like every major event or things like that. It just is kind of coming up with, has there been a shift in resources? Has there been a discovery of resources? Has there been a scientific discovery? Has there been a shift in power peacefully or unexpectedly, and so forth? And for this, I'm kind of, it's weird because I'm kind of hung up, and this has been a challenge because I'm focusing with the idea that this is a new country, this is a new continent. So a lot of this history is going to be in the old world, left behind. Now I know that doesn't mean that it just ceases to exist and everything, and having a history of the old world will influence things in the new continent. But I think so much of my creative energy has been going into, designing, creating, and figuring out how things work in this new continent that I haven't really thought much about the old world, and so to say. That being said, I have come up with a few kind of key aspects and the key thoughts. Again, I haven't given proper titles to any movement like this. So we're just talking in general terms that there will be a great war between a couple of the nations in the old world. Again, going back to the adventurers and hunters, I don't foresee hunters being involved in political or national conflicts. They are not soldiers, basically. So even though nations may want to try and manipulate them or draw them into conflict, they try and stay out of it. So there will be a conflict between two nations. Whether or not the hunters get pulled into it or not, I haven't quite decided yet. There will be a scientific discovery in or a scientific breakthrough in the materia area, which I think will help lead to and make it easier for the people to cross the ocean. But I think a couple of big moments in history are going to be tied to the elder dragons and appearances of elder dragons. Because as I've developed this and thought about it more, I really do see these elder dragons kind of like the kaiju from Godzilla. There are several of them, and they are titanic, and an appearance of one of them or the actions of one of them is a cataclysmic titanic event. So having a couple of those will really shape. I would imagine if I'm only sticking to 100-year time frame, there's only going to be one event, one Elder Dragon event before the appearance of the next one that initiates this campaign world. So because that event's going to be so big, you're going to have to deal with the fallout for that for years. So I imagine that within we'll say like 80 or even like at the start 100 years ago, there was an Elder Dragon appearance, or maybe a couple of Elder Dragon appearance, and that stirring prompted people to kind of keep an eye out on them and watch them more, and that's when they noticed that they're migrate. They may have a migratory path or something. So there's that. There's the discovery, breakthrough of materia that should help them travel to the New World, and I think there'll also be like a historical discovery in an ancient civilization that came before. I don't know how far, but it'll be a civilization that is clearly distant, different, and very very distinct from the civilization and cultures that are now. This civilization may be thousands of years old. So, and again, that'll be another factor that'll spur people to start exploring and finding out more. And I think dealing with this previous civilization can also cause some drama in what do you do with this knowledge? How does this change the worldview, and so forth. I also see, again, last episode I talked about the races and their cultural proclivities. I see, again, in my world, I see races mingling. I don't really per se see like quote unquote interracial marriages or children very often, just simply because it's not really taboo. It's just something, if I'm honest, it's something I don't want to deal with on a mechanical level, game mechanics level. So story-wise, it happens, but it just happens to everyday people and not the heroes, so to say. But yeah, that is kind of it for the history. I definitely am probably going to develop more as I start to try and think of the old world. I know I can really pull examples and analogies from our own world history and probably work that in similarly. So anyways, that's our episode for today. A little bit shorter, but as always, here's some other episodes or other videos you might be interested in. Be sure to hit the like button and the bell notification so you see when I post again. And as always, I really would love to hear from y'all. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section down below. And I will see y'all next time.